Previously on Driving Jersey.
We're definitely big proponents of giving back to the community where your business is.
You know, a lot of people, they think of Asbury Park and they see the developed areas, the beachfront, the east side of Asbury Park. But you know, you go over to the west side of Asbury Park and it still is a rough neighborhood. It still needs a lot of work, and Boys and Girls Club, especially in Asbury Park, like for those kids that are in those programs, I mean, you know, it means so much to them.
When they approached us about doing the event at the Lanes, it was a no-brainer.
I want to thank you all for joining us on this most unusual evening. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, the world-famous Pontani sisters!
Jersey is, it's not the trash can that everybody calls it.
Jersey is
my home.
I'm from Plainsboro, New Jersey.
Asbury Park, New Jersey.
Jersey is my home. You took my answer. Mattawa, New Jersey.
Hazlet, New Jersey.
Barney, New Jersey.
If you could look into the camera and tell us your name and where you're from. This is New Jersey.
Are we going?
Yeah, we're going.
Okay, so this is 1227 Chambers Street, and this is the house that I grew up in, and at that time when I was a little kid, this used to say Pontani, 1227, which is where I think I get my penchant for customizing everything. It's from my father, because everything was customized. And the lions, they were also a touch of my father. I think it's like, you know, Italian-American families like to cram as much into their backyard spaces as possible. So when we lived here, there was the Mary in the igloo in the corner. I think we might have had bigger lions with these lions, you know? So this is it. This is where I grew up, and this is where my sisters and I would do little dances on the steps, and we had family dinners and holidays all the time, and lots of great neighborhood kids. And there's an alley behind here that we can go back and look at where we also had a performance space. So like this is where like my sisters and I would, you know, come do a little show, and all the kids in the neighborhood would watch and join in. And again, like in memory, I thought this was really big. And then there's reality. Yeah, so this is the white spot. This is where all the major productions first
Now, who
happened.
gave it the name The White Spot?
We just called it that, I guess, because the concrete or whatever it is white. I don't know why. And, you know, there was the house right there, so my mom would just scream out the back when it was time to come home. And our friends, the Bradshaws, were on this corner. Just kids everywhere. Kids we went to school with in the alley across the street. That's where my dad used to park his Lincoln Sevilles and Cadillacs that were all monogrammed with his initials. And he used to make us clean the custom hubcaps with our tiny child fingers. They could get into the So there's literally pictures of us cleaning his hubcaps.
He's sharp.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Yes. It's a handful. So yeah, this is the alley.
Oh, let me hear it gentlemen, Angie Pontani!
My name is Angie Pontani. I am an award-winning burlesque performer, and I'm from Trenton, New Jersey. I think growing up where I did and when I did created this persona and the performer that I am because my sensibilities were so influenced by the people that I grew up around and by my environment. So I grew up in this kind of Italian-American enclave, and everybody, you know, even though it was the 80s and the 90s, they were all inspired and influenced by, you know, music from the 40s and the 50s, and these are the things that I saw every day. Like, I would watch Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers with my grandmama and grandpop when I got home from school, you know. I would watch Busby Berkeley movies with my dad and listen to Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and, you know, these movies with these showgirls and production numbers, and it just, like, it burned into my brain, like, that's entertainment, like, that's what showbiz is. And I had always wanted to be a performer, and I just wanted to be fabulous like Rita Hayworth, you know. So when I got older and I said, I'm moving to New York, I'm going to make it in showbiz, I thought I wanted to be an actress. And then I, like, started going on auditions, and I even got some roles, and I was like, this is, like, lame. I would like to only have roles that include fake eyelashes and headdresses and fishnets and costumes and dance numbers. So then I kind of realized that I don't want to be an actress, really. I kind of want to be a showgirl, and I don't want to be like a Broadway showgirl or a Vegas showgirl. I want to be a showgirl that's really just myself. Like, I want to be, if Frank Sinatra was a dancing girl. That's what I want to be. Specifically remember after I saw Madonna on the Music Awards one year where she did Like a Virgin, and that, not a big Madonna fan, but at that moment, like, it took over my small, you know, child brain, and I reenacted that many times in the white spot in the alley on my stage there and made all the neighborhood kids watch. I was living in New York. I was going to NYU and studying modern dance and, like, all this very boring stuff that I can't stand. And I was working at a restaurant too, a little coffee shop, and one of the waiters was a dancer, and he said, you know, you have to come and audition for this show that I'm doing. Like, you're so perfect for it. Because I was always drawn to vintage stuff, so I always had a kind of vintage flair in my attire. And he was like, you're going to die when you see this show. And this show was literally in an apartment that someone had turned into, like, a speakeasy, and it was a speakeasy show, but this was, like, in the 90s, so the waitress had a champagne bottle on her head, and, like, there was chorus lines of dancing girls and guys playing the flamenco guitar, and just all this amazingness. So I watched the show, and I was like, this is what I've been searching for. Like, this is what I've dreamed about. And I auditioned for the show, and I got into it. And that show lasted for a few years, and when it ended, I just kind of went off on my own. I was like, I can make my own fruit headdress. Why not? So I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, Angie Pontani!
This is really where, I mean, I love Chamber Street too, but, like, my heart and soul is, like, right down the middle of this street, man. Like, we spent so much time. My grandmom and grandpa Joe lived over there in 613, and everybody on the block was, like, 80 years old and all their friends. So it was the same thing. It was like everybody knew you. Everybody was cooking something for you or watching you play or, like, anything. But my grandmom and grandpa would sit on their front stoop. And then my Aunt Norma and my Uncle Jimmy lived in this house over here, the blue one, and they would sit on their stoop, and they would just, you know, funnel food back and forth across the street. Like, my grandma and my aunt got up in the morning and just started cooking for the entire day. And growing up here was just magical. And then that was the park that we used to go and play in. My grandma would follow us around and watch us like a hawk. And actually, this is the site of the first time that I was ever in the newspaper. I was playing in front of my grandparents' house with my little sister Dana, who's 6 years younger than me. And this guy came up to us and was like, I work for the Trenton-Tonian or the Trenton Times, and I want to take your picture for the paper. Now, I had a major case of stranger danger, so I totally freaked out. And I was like, run, Dana, run! So Dana went running into the house, like screaming kidnapper. My grandpa and grandma came out like, what's going on? But he was a real photographer of the paper, and he wanted to take Dana's picture because she was like little tiny cuteness with braids. And she was too scared to come back out of the house. So he had to settle for my paper and my picture in the paper, and I got front page.
How'd that feel?
Awesome. You know, I got that little kid out of the way. I did feel a little bad, but.
How does it feel to be here now? Like, what's your feeling?
You know, it's kind of like, it's a little bit sad to me because it seems so different. And obviously my Aunt Norma just passed away, my Uncle Jimmy's gone, my grandpa's gone, everybody's gone. You know, my grandmom's the only one left. And that's very sad, and it kind of makes me feel like this was such a magical place, and it's kind of like that thing that you can never go back there again, you know? I mean, I've cried my tears on that front step the day my grandmom left, but in the backyard, there's a big fig tree that was propagated from a fig tree that was like my great-uncle Armand's and blah, blah, I don't even know. Somebody brought it over in Italy in like a burlap sack. Yeah. And when they moved out, I took off a bunch of cuttings from it and I propagated the tree. So now I have the tree growing in my yard, and hopefully I can keep it alive long enough to keep that one going. So, you know, it's always in my heart. It's in your heart. It's where you know.
But it's not the same.
No, it's not. It's not. And, you know, I'm a sentimental, like, beast. You know, I really am to a default sometimes, but...
Do you think that's why you chose the art form that you chose? I was going to ask you that.
I think so. I mean, it's kind of like when I perform, I feel like I'm creating those magical moments totally for myself on stage in these 4-minute bursts, and it's like... It's kind of like a vacation. It's like a departure. It's magical, you know, and that's what I feel when I... think of my memories here and
it's also tapping into the past. I think.
For sure, yeah, and it's a direct line, you know, and it'll always be there as long as I can move. Beautiful, like big classic entrance to the church stairs, and there's pictures of my mom and dad on them when they got married, and my sister and her husband getting married there. It was the one thing that I was rueful of getting married in New York, is not having the services here when my grandparents got married here, you know?
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. And I crowned the Blessed Mother here. I got my sacraments here. We came to church here like 4 times a year. Yeah. And my father would fall asleep. But it is a beautiful, I love this church. My Aunt Barbara, Larry's mom, just passed recently. And when we were at her services, my sister and I were sitting in the front row, and it was really, like, every priest came out, like, all the months. I don't even know how many Monsignors there are. I also failed church school. And then Father Joe helped me out with that a little bit. Made a couple phone calls.
Wait, what were the name of
the question that got me was, what was the name of all the apostles? And so I can't, I was such a horrible student. So I just used all the names of the men, like, in my family. So I got Peter and Paul, which was good, but then I had, like, Tony, Vincent, Buster, Jimmy. Like, I mean, it was tragic. So I failed. So and Father Joe, he helped it out a little bit. Yeah. Jersey. So, you know, every Italian-American family has really, if you want to brag about anything, you have to have a priest in your family to kind of validate you, you know? So we had Father Joe, and he was awesome. He was awesome. He was just a great priest, really cared about the community, engaged people, didn't care who you were, where you came from, you know. There's always rifts everywhere where different cultural groups come in, but he was here in Trenton. The Guatemalans came in, they adored him. Like, he didn't care, as you shouldn't, you know, but not everybody's perfect. So Father Joe is a great priest. He went on to become the Monsignor, just so revered in the community. And his brother is Larry. And Larry's a hairdresser. He's also revered in the community, but for a whole different set of reasons.
Come on, take some good. Hey, look, you should have came on a freaking Saturday.
He's hilarious. The things that come out of his mouth can be shocking.
This place is like the crazy house on the 8th floor. Come on in.
Oh, that's putting it mildly.
He's really over the top. He's very flamboyant. He knows everybody, everything, what they're doing, who they're doing,
knows before
how.
the Trentonian knows.
Yes.
This is my hostess, Helen. That's my Uncle Stevie. This is my customer, Peggy. This is my brother-in-law.
How you doing?
And this is my assistant, Joseph.
Joseph, nice to meet you.
It's called Larry's Way of Hair.
And it is exactly that.
He does pretty much the over 70 crowd is his target audience. So if you need to, you know, get a set done, Larry's your guy.
So Larry could be a whole segment or episode of our show, too.
Oh my God. Larry? We're outside. He's just a little difficult
He's
to control,
a
is the
mini-series.
thing. Just just stay inside and be yourself. He's hard to control, you know. Just stay inside and be yourself, all right? He goes, just stay inside and be myself. Okay. Are you sure?
I even went to Kmart and bought matching shirts today to look nice.
Can you guys stand next to each other?
Hey, come on. It's like Bobby and Blaze.
Yeah. They'd have to know who that was.
Like Bobby and
Yeah,
Blaze.
they wouldn't
They'd
know
have to know who that was first.
And that's my hostess right here. She's been with for years. She just turned 80 Saturday.
No.
She just turned 80
No
Saturday.
way.
We gave her a surprise party.
Right?
What's your secret?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you.
Larry is just such a larger-than-life force.
Oh, you gotta come back. Come on, you have a ball. And wait, I'll put you in the closet. And listen to me. I'll make you set up in the bathroom. You'll see all these no scripts, nothing. You'll pee yourself. It's like a crazy house.
And I think, like, growing up, having somebody like Larry in my family, it's just awesome, you know? It's like, so many people are boring. Larry, you can use every other word in the dictionary, but boring is not one, you know? And it is. It was always, I remember when I started dressing crazy and like getting more into vintage stuff and like wearing red lipstick, and I would come home and Larry would be like, you look beautiful. You look beautiful. You should do blue eyes. You should make your hair bigger. Like, you know? Some people's families would be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Not me. It's a little overwhelming sometimes, but come on.
They call me Crazy Larry all day long. They don't call me Larry.
Everybody knows him as Crazy Larry.
should have a Larry, they say.
When we go
And
to
let me tell
the
you something,
doctors,
you
they
like
call him
Crazy
Crazy Larry.
My clientele's a lot older, and they all got a lot of money. They ain't got nothing to do but hang here, curse, eat, and you'll have a ball.
Yeah.
You can put them on a show. He didn't pick up the phone.
There's always happy hour somewhere.
How long have you been working here?
Collectively about 4 years, but about 2 years straight.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been back. I've done a lot of different things. Funeral directing,
Wow.
bartending, waitering. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah.
Everybody in here has something interesting to tell.
Yeah. We have a plethora of
Yeah.
people. Very eclectic, the group.
That's great.
Every morning, stand beside her and guide her. Peggy's taking your picture, smart. To the light with the light from above. Encore from the mountains, through the prairies, through the ocean. I like to tell you what I do. We get
Careful with those scissors.
I put the mannequin in the tits. Bless America. Encore. Land that I love.
Because at least the way we grew up, it's like I couldn't have done anything wrong. Because I was never alone long enough.
Yeah.
Like someone was always watching, you know? And someone always knew who I was, you know, where I was. So it was like, I didn't really have a lot of opportunity to like be bad.
Yeah.
Which was great. And it was very natural and just very organic, you know? I starred in Cinderella. It was my first real taste of the theater.
That's right.
And you were Cinderella?
I was Cinderella. Yeah, I got the part of Cinderella. My grandmom used to give me money to go to Campy's, which was on the corner, and I would go there and get lottery tickets and cigarettes for my grandfather. Tony the tailor was around the corner. We used to go pick up the tailoring, you know. And I wore patent leather shoes because I'm Italian, and gold jewelry. And this was also marking me as a foreign species. Here you're supposed to wear Birkenstocks and silver.
And penny loafers. Yeah.
Ugh. This is the man cave. This is where I hang out with my dad. I prefer the man cave. It's also a little dark. But it's a little bit of a mess, but like...
Oh, wow.
Like you could see the pictures of everything. More, you know...
Wow.
Animals on pedestals. Very important. But my dad took pictures of everything, you know, in our entire lives, really, basically every moment. So it's kind of cool. It was annoying at that time, but now it's awesome. And then, like Frank Sinatra, my father is obsessed with Frank Sinatra. Like, literally. My mom and my dad went to go see this concert. My dad actually took these pictures. And my father, who's insane, said, I'm going to go on stage, Louise. Here's the camera. Take a picture. This is an on-stage picture that didn't work out. My dad went on stage, shook Frank Sinatra's hand, like kissed his cheeks and said, like, may you live 100 years. And then his bodyguard, Jilly, got my dad and threw my dad off the stage. And my mom took the picture, and when they developed it, it was of the ceiling. Like someone bumped into her.
Hit me. I went like that.
Would have killed.
He was.
I can't believe that they stayed married.
He still hasn't forgiven me.
Yeah, no, he'll bring it up every once in a while. So every morning, like, my father will blast Frank Sinatra. And when we moved here, too, I think one of the funny things about being the only Italians in this very Anglo-Saxon area was that no one would say anything to my father. Like, everybody was petrified of him.
Really?
Oh, yeah, well, he put a cement mixer outside when we moved in, too. It was kind of a silent message. My grandfather was a contractor. He was here for a legitimate purpose. Yes. But no one would come. So my dad would blast music until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and no one will say, it's ridiculous. I'm like, I would complain, but no one will say anything to him. So it's pretty nice. I don't know where I'm going, and I never have. I just keep going, and I don't know. I never have a plan. I kind of like, I think the universe has my plan for me. So I just go where the spirit moves me.
And it's worked for you.
It's worked for me. When my grandpa, who was in the Army or the Marines, he was an astrologer too, which is weird. An Italian-American Marine veteran astrologer. But he did my chart one day, and he did all my sisters, and he did mine, and he looked at it, and I was like, well, what does it say, Grandpop? And he was like, you're going to be all right. He's like, just go. He's like, it's all plotted for you. So sometimes when I'm like, I need a plan, I need a 10-year plan, I just think of what my grandpop said. So I just go where the spirit moves me. That's where I'm going.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Miss Angie Pontani.
We are exactly what you see. Bruised and scraped up knees. Still we find our way. Some come as quickly as they go. Some choose their own roads. Still they find their way. And God knows how hard it is to lose. Pray to whichever one you choose, that you will find your way. Now we find our 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 way.